Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I want to show you something a little bit different, how to make these grow in horns. You can see they are wrapping around and twisting, and you can use this method for various things when you want to make them look organic and alive. So let's get started. So first of all we want to create a circle, and I'm going to make it editable. And go into the points mode, and we have to subdivide these points. We need a little bit more points. So I'm going to Control A, select everything, and then go to subdivide. And I can even subdivide this once more. So we have enough points. So now I'm going to select every second point. Now that we have this, I'm going to hit T for scale. Then I'm going to scale it inwards. So I want these roundings. I'm going to switch out to object mode and put this whole thing into an extrude. We're going to play with the thickness now. Make it thicker, longer. Maybe a value of 1000 is good. Yeah. So now what we want to do is we want to twist it. So first of all I have to group the extrude, and then I'm going to put a modifier in it, and it's going to be the twist modifier. I'm going to set this to unlimited. I don't want any restrictions for this modifier, and if I just play with the angle we can see that the rotation is off, of course, so I'm going to rotate it to -90 degree, and we get this. So if I upper the angle even more, we can see that at some point it just breaks, and this is because we don't have enough subdivisions for the extrude. You can see that if I change the shading mode. So what I can do is I just go to the subdivisions of the extrude and upper the value to, let's say, 100, and we get a very nice rounding. Can even lower the angle now for the twist to, let's say, 90. Yeah, it's looking good now. So now I want to taper it, and of course there's another modifier in Cinema 4D, and it's called the taper modifier. So I'm just gonna go ahead and insert the taper and put it beneath the twist, and just upper the strength. And as we can see, there's again something off. If I just switch to wireframe mode, you can see that the taper is again in the wrong direction, so I have to rotate it again to -90. So now we get this, and this curvature here is because the mode is set to limited, but I want to keep it at limited. I'm just gonna reposition our taper and play with the size now. Just upper the size until it covers the whole object. If I just take a look at the right view, you can see it very good. So now we want the tip even sharper, so I upper the strength of the taper to 100, and we get this. Maybe it is too thick, so what I can do is I just lower the size of the circle by hitting T and just scale it down. And now that is the basic shape of our horn. So next step is I'm going to import a skull model I purchased, and you can see that the scaling of the skull and the horn is completely off, so I have to maybe just scale the horns a little bit down. And by doing that we have to adjust the scaling of the extrude as well as the modifiers. Let me put the skull into a subdivision. So next step is we're going to draw a path for the horns. I'm going to switch to front mode and select the pen tool and start drawing a path. Yeah, this is looking good. Just let me rename this to horns path. So now we want the horn to like wrap around this path. So we just add a spline wrap modifier, and I'm gonna put it beneath the taper and put the horn path to the spline. And now you can see that the axis is off. If I just switch it to, let's say, plus Y, no, this is wrong. Plus Z, yeah, and this is looking correct now. So we can change the mode to keep length. So we want the original length of our horn and not of the horn path. And it is too thick right now, so I just scale down the circle, the original shape of the horn, until it fits. Yeah, this is looking good. But we want the horns to start in the inner of the skull. So I just switch the mode to wireframe. You can see that I can adjust the first point of our path and just move it inside of the head. So if I just switch out of it, yeah, and this is looking great now. I want to give it a little bit more of a twist, so I just upper the angle of our twist modifier, like so. Great. So we need this horn on the other side as well, so I just go ahead and put in a symmetry object, and no, like so, and put the null into the symmetry, and boom, we got this. Great. So the thing how we can animate this whole growing animation is by going to the spline wrap and play with the 2 value. Right now it's set to 100%, but if I just lower it, you can see that it just disappears. So if we want to animate this, I'm gonna put a keyframe to 50 for 100%, and at the first keyframe I'm just gonna lower it to 0. And now if I hit play, we get this nice animation. So we can play with the rotation, with the twist as well. So again, I'm gonna put a keyframe for the angle at frame 50. And at frame 0, I'm gonna lower it to, let's say, 30. And now if I play, you can see that we get this very nice organic looking animation. Very cool. So now to the shading part, I already put in 2 lights and the original material I used. So this is a mixed material. First material has a black body emission on it with a temperature of 500. So we get this nice red glow. The second material has some rock texture on it. And there is also some displacement going on. The amount is set to 0.5, so it's scaling inwards and outwards. If I put this to a higher value, let's say 7, you can see that this is happening. And if I put it to 0, it disappears. So it's just scattering inwards. But with an amount of 0.5, we get this nice scratches and bumps. The whole blending is controlled with the dirt node, and what the dirt node does is, if I just solo it, it contours the edges and creases of your geometry. And so we can blend between those 2 materials. For the skull itself, I just used a glossy material and put on some rust texture. I wanted to give it some decayed look with it. Again, I used a displacement for the skull, just a little bit. Next step is I added a fog volume. Just make sure that it covers everything inside, also the lights, and inserted a Octane camera. and make sure that the Octane camera is inside of the fog volume. So right now it's too dense, but if I go to the medium tab and just lower it, you can see that it starts to appear again. Just playing around with the size of the lights. And also maybe change the mode to path tracing to make it look even better. So if I just crop now, you can see that get this very nice animation. And that's basically it. I hope you liked this tutorial. If so, give me a like, follow me, leave me a comment, and see you next time. Bye!